This is much, much later in the book. This is when Winston is being interrogated by O'Brien. And O'Brien is basically saying, look, we, the party, we control everything. We control people's minds, which means that we control the truth. Because if everyone believes what we're saying, then that is the truth. There is no external truth. We control reality. And then Winston has said,
"But you do not! You are not even masters of this planet. What about Eurasia and East Asia? You have not conquered them yet." "Unimportant. We shall conquer them when it suits us, and if we did not, what difference would it make? We can shut them out of existence. Oceania is the world." "But the world itself is only a speck of dust, and man is tiny, helpless. How long has he been in existence? For millions of years the earth was uninhabited." "Nonsense. The earth is as old as we are, no older. How could it be older? Nothing exists except through human consciousness." "But the rocks are full of the bones of extinct animals, mammoths and mastodons and enormous reptiles which lived here long before man was ever heard of." "Have you ever seen those bones, Winston?" "Of course not. 19th century biologists invented them. Before man there was nothing. After man, if he could come to an end, there would be nothing. Outside man there is nothing." "But the whole universe is outside us. Look at the stars. Some of them are 1,000,000 light-years away. They are out of our reach forever." "What are the stars?" said O'Brien indifferently. "They are bits of fire a few kilometers away. We could reach them if we wanted to, or we could blot them out. The earth is the center of the universe. The sun and the stars go round it." Winston made another convulsive movement. This time he did not say anything. O'Brien continued as though answering a spoken objection. "For certain purposes, of course, that is not true. When we navigate the ocean or when we predict an eclipse, we often find it convenient to assume that the earth goes round the sun and that the stars are millions upon millions of kilometers away. But what of it? Do you suppose it is beyond us to produce a dual system of astronomy? The stars can be near or distant according as we need them. Do you suppose our mathematicians are unequal to that? Have you forgotten doublethink?" Winston shrank back upon the bed. Whatever he said, the swift answer crushed him like a bludgeon.
"Have you ever seen those bones, Winston?" "Of course not." Now, my question for you, Chad, how many of the people in your neighbourhood, for instance, do you think have actually seen a dinosaur bone?
I don't know anybody who's seen one. I've never seen one.
Let me tell you, no one has. Even if they've been to a museum, what they have seen is a fossil. And the official story with fossils is that these are not the bones themselves. These are mineral deposits that have replaced the bones over millions of years. Because even according to the official story, yes, bones do last much longer than skin and organs, but bones themselves are not permanent objects that just last forever. They too decay, and over millions of years, they cannot last that long. So they are replaced by minerals that seep into the deposit where the bone used to be. Okay, so let me rephrase that. According to the official story of paleontology and related so-called scientific fields, the dinosaurs were walking around. Some of them, when they died, fell into tar pits or other things that preserved the body to an extent. The body still, disappeared over time. The bones lasted the longest, but even the bones eventually disappeared. By the time the bones disappeared, everything around the bone had become solid, so now there was like an empty crevice for other minerals to seep into to form the fossils that we now have, right? So even people who think they've seen dinosaur bones, no, you haven't. You saw a fossil, which is different to a bone. A fossil is a rock that looks like a bone because it's a mineral deposit that fell into where the bone used to be. In other words, even according to the official story, no one has seen dinosaur bones. No one.
Yeah, it all seems so far-fetched. And even the process of, minerals occupying a blank space, around inside of a solid rock. I mean, how does that happen? That even seems crazy.
Well, it's easy for us to imagine if we have trust in the authorities, right? People, if they're
Right.
a dinosaur believer, if they hear what I just said, if they would take the time to double check it, oh yeah, that is a story of fossils being mineral deposits that replace the bones. Oh yeah. they'll still be able to say, yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine the bone disintegrating and then minerals replacing it. And yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, people could very easily imagine it if they've already got the belief in the dinosaurs, which they've had since they were 4 or 5 years old watching dinosaurs on TV, on the telescreen.
Right.
And so here we have Winston saying, you guys don't run the whole show. Because O'Brien is saying, Winston, we run the whole show here, okay? And Winston is saying, no, you don't, because there were creatures here before humans, so you clearly didn't run that show, did you? And then O'Brien is saying, Winston, who do you think put those bones there? It was us. It's all us. It's all us doing this. He even says, 19th century biologists invented them. Well, when were dinosaurs discovered? The 19th century. The 1800s.
You know, and it's even interesting that he throws cosmology out there as well. The Copernican cosmology that we're given, that even comes into question with what Orwell is writing. It's very interesting.